50 years ago, on April 17th, 1975, on the same day Phnom Penh had fallen to the Khmer Rouge, the Cambodian genocide took place. It was the systematic persecution and killing of Cambodian citizens by the Khmer Rouge under the leadership of the Prime Minister of Democratic Kampuchea, Pol Pot. Between 1975 and 1979, it killed 1.5 to 2 million people, or almost 25% of Cambodia's population of 7.8 million in 1975. Mao Zedong, the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party, provided Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge with years of support. It is estimated that at least 90% of the Khmer Rouge's foreign aid came from China, including at least $1 billion in interest-free economic and military aid in 1975 alone. The Khmer Rouge sought to establish an agrarian socialist republic based on ultra-Maoist principles and was impacted by the Cultural Revolution after seizing power in April 1975. In June, Pol Pot and other Khmer Rouge leaders met with Mao in Beijing, where they received advice and approval. Later, senior CCP officials, including Zhang Chunqiao, a member of the Politburo Standing Committee, traveled to Cambodia to offer assistance. The Khmer Rouge frog-marched Cambodians to labor camps in the countryside where they were subjected to mass executions, forced labor, physical abuse, torture, malnourishment, and disease to achieve its objectives. The Khmer Rouge renamed the nation Democratic Kampuchea in 1976. When the Khmer Rouge government was overthrown by the Vietnamese military invasion in 1978, the massacres came to an end. The Khmer Rouge's policies killed between 1.5 and 2 million people by January 1979, including 200,000 to 300,000 Chinese Cambodians, 90,000 to 500,000 Cambodian Cham, and 20,000 Vietnamese Cambodians. Only 7 adults survived the 20,000 inmates who went through Security Prison 21, one of the 196 prisons run by the Khmer Rouge. The inmates were brought to the killing fields, where they were buried in mass graves and put to death, often with pickaxes to conserve ammunition. A large number of children were kidnapped, brainwashed, and coerced into committing crimes. About 1.3 million suspected execution victims are housed in 23,745 mass graves and have been mapped by the Documentation Center of Cambodia as of 2009. Up to 60% of the genocide victims are thought to have died by direct execution, with remaining victims passing away from malnutrition, fatigue, or illness. The second wave of refugees held to neighboring Thailand and, to a lesser extent, Vietnam as a result of the genocide. The Extraordinary Chambers in the Court of Cambodia was created in 2003 by an agreement between the Cambodian government and the United Nations to try the Khmer Rouge leadership members who were responsible for the genocide in Cambodia. In 2009, the trial started. Kang Kek Lu was found guilty by the trial chamber on July 26, 2010, of crimes against humanity and serious violations of the 1949 Geneva Conventions. His sentence was raised to life in prison by the Supreme Court chamber. In 2014, Khieu Samphan and Nuon Chea were found guilty of serious violations of the Geneva Conventions and crimes against humanity. The trial chamber convicted Nuon Chea and Khieu Samphan on March 28, 2019 of genocide against the Vietnamese ethnic, national, and racial groups, crimes against humanity, and serious violations of the Geneva Conventions. Additionally, using the theory of superior responsibility, the chamber found Nuon Chea guilty of genocide against the Cham ethnic and religious groups. Khieu Samphan and Nuon Chea were both given life sentences in prison. The Cambodian genocide is one of the examples of a true genocide, like the Armenian genocide, the Rwandan genocide, as well as the genocide of Alawites and Christians that happened in Syria a few months ago, or a few weeks. But this so-called genocide in Gaza? Hell no. There is no genocide in Gaza. There was no I repeat, no genocide in Gaza. If they were, then they would take like 4 years to commit, like Adolf Hitler did to the Jews in World War II. That was called the Holocaust. That was also an example of genocide. Those who are Cambodian, Vietnamese, or who's half Cambodian, we should never forget the Cambodian genocide that occurred 50 years ago. I've just discovered that today after I ate at Zaxby's. Well, that's all I have for today. If you like what you hear, leave a comment down below and subscribe. This is Stephen Luke here, and I'll see you again for another history update.